Yo, what's going on, guys? Botmentality here with another Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and possibly a little bit of Bitcoin Cash chart analysis for you today. And today is May 26th of 2018, and let's go ahead and jump into this, guys. Wow. So it's been a couple days since I made my last video, and really that's just been because I've been so focused on just adding value to the chat room, sending out that daily newsletter, and honestly, guys, just kind of taking a little bit of break, I've been leaning back, taking my foot off the gas from trading, just because of the fact of the price action that we've been seeing. It's been really difficult to trade as far as a long trader unless you're doing a lot of scalps, and because it requires a lot of screen time in order to focus on trading the channel, I haven't been putting my foot on the gas too much. I've been patient, watching the daily, been looking for the curls to start up, and placing very reserved entries here on the downside based on prior support. And again, just focus on interacting with you guys in the chat room and sending out that daily newsletter and just providing that technical analysis that for those of you who are looking to trade the shorter term action here on the long side. As far as why I've been trading the short side, it's because BitMEX absolutely irritates me, and there aren't any other exchanges where I actually want to actually trust in order to put my funds on there to trade the short side. So I've been pretty much long focused on everything. I've just been remaining patient. And I'll talk a little bit about what my thoughts are here on Bitcoin. And I want to get some more content out for you guys here soon. I actually do have two other businesses outside of trading that I focus on. So I've been putting a lot of time into those to kind of fill my time here in the meantime, as we've been seeing massive L's being taken on Bitcoin lately. Just due to FUD news and just technical downside. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So let me just go ahead and jump into some analysis here for you. So on the daily, essentially what we've got here, again, this is what everyone's focusing on, okay? You got the 6,500 right. I'm just drawing this real quick for you guys. This right here is what, jump that over to purple right there. Boom. This is what everyone's focusing on. Okay, this pattern right here. What does this mean? Essentially what we could have is we're hopefully looking for is to form a higher low right here. And the higher low would be anywhere in, well, now the range is getting a lot more narrow, anywhere in this area. As long as we can form a higher low in this area, we're in a good position, right? It can be anywhere right here. And the reason why I say that is because if we head back down to this bottom level of 6,500, essentially what we have here is a potential, we could have a bull flag, right? And we have this large uptrend, pullback for consolidation to a break to the upside, great. But if we don't make a higher low in this area, what we have here is a third retest there. If you want to look at it as a third retest of that 6,500 area, and we have consistent lower highs here on the daily as well, right? So we have a lower high here. I'll make that a brighter color here for you. We have a lower high here, right? A lower high in this area here as well, which would be the 9,500 area. And then essentially what we have here is a retest of the 6,500 for a potential third test of this if we bounce up here in this 7,500 area. The issue with us having these repeated lower highs just over and over and over again, guys, is essentially what's going on is the sellers are moving down. The sellers are coming down to test the buyers, and the buyers are holding still. They're holding still in this 6,500 area. So there's a chance that because the buyers are holding steady and the sellers are coming down and down and down to meet the buyers, that we could break this level. That's what everyone doesn't want to happen. So the optimal scenario for the bulls on the daily is to make a higher low in that orange area I've selected there. That's what we're hoping for. And this is the big picture pattern everyone's looking at. So let's jump into a little bit of a closer, shorter time frame price action as far as what I'm looking for here. So if we go down to the 4 hour, right, and we zoom in a little bit, what we're going to see here, guys, is we've essentially over the past couple weeks here, let's just say today's the 26th, since the beginning of, let's say since the 7th, what we've been seeing after that double top retest we had here at the 10K level where we tried to break 10,000 and failed, what we've seen here is a consistent sell-off here straight, a very strong downtrend all the way from the 7th till now over the past couple weeks. So what does that mean? What that means is that through this level, we have a ton of bag longs, which means, people who are just essentially holding their bags at every single price point. You can pick out every single whole and half dollar mark. You got the 8,000 longs, you got the 8,500 longs, right? You've got the 9,000. Hopefully people still aren't holding, but I know people are still holding from 9,000. Got the people holding from just even recently, the 7,800, right? That people who bought in here at the 7,500. We have a ton of longs here. If you just look at prior resistance all the way up, I'm just placing horizontal resistance lines at every single pivot we've seen here previously, right? So we have all these levels of resistance, right? Even here, right here at the 8,200 or 8,130. That was a big play area just a few days ago. We have all these longs that are bagged, which means they bought in at these higher price levels and are holding for either break even or to sell into pops because now they're like, man, we're just getting trapped on the way down this downtrend. So what's happening is when we see a bounce into one of these areas, we're going to meet resistance and we're going to pull back. That's just a given. The issue with this is because we're seeing people being bought in long here and holding, and it's the highs are being sold off, or the bounces are being sold off. As you can see with these wicks we've had here forming the equilibrium, which I'll get into once we get to a shorter time frame. Essentially what we're seeing here is a ton of sell side pressure, not a whole lot of buy side pressure, and a ton of levels we need to break through to the upside. And we're not even getting into breaking out of these critical levels here of the 11,500 or the 10,000 level, or now the 9,000 level. We're seeing the sellers coming down lower and lower and lower to meet the buyers. And essentially, the closer we get to this bottom trend line here, which I'll go ahead and mark it in orange, the 6,500 area, the closer we get to this level, that level there on the bottom, that orange level, the closer we get to essentially a bear break, which is not good for the bulls. So hopefully we can make a higher low right here around the 7,500 area. If not, that's bad. But what we're looking right here is we need to see a curl. We need to start seeing some higher lows put in this area, right, in order to start breaking through those resistance levels. What I do not want to see, and what would not be sustainable, is some bull news come out, right? Some bullish news, right? And essentially we just rip through these support levels all the way up here, and then for a pullback, because that wouldn't demonstrate a strong support. What I want to see is essentially the opposite of what we've seen here for the past few weeks. I want to see multiple weeks of bull action into the future that will lead up, that will lead us up through these price levels, right? Something a lot more sustainable, where a lot of longs are being bought in and shorts are being bought in, and essentially to be squeezed through that $10,000 level. That's what I would like to see. I don't want to see a complete, strong V-shaped recovery, straight back up. I want this to stretch out over the course of into July, preferably, right? So that's what I'm thinking here on the daily, and that's what everyone's looking for as far as the 4-hour. We have a lot of overhead bagged longs. A lot of these pops are being sold into. So if you're long here and you're trading the short term, I recommend taking profits or at least raising your trailing stop if you're getting long here into this 7,500 area. So that's what I'm looking at there. My entries are being very conservative. I'm only buying pullbacks into my buy zone, which is a very conservative buy zone, because I'm taking into consideration these longs that are being bagged in this area, and I'm looking to play off the dips, right? So there we go. And I'm always checking the charts. I'm charting this every single day. However, I'm being very conservative with my entries. Now I'll jump in here to a little bit of the sooner time frame. We're still on Bitcoin, guys. We're 7 minutes into the video. But here's what we're looking at, and I'm going to compare Bitcoin to Ethereum to Litecoin to Bitcoin Cash, okay? I'm going to delete all my areas there of all the bags, right? So here's what we've been seeing. Actually, let me break it down a little bit more. Let me go to 30 minute, okay? 3 things I want to point out. Longs are scared. Why? Because every single time we seem to be forming a little bit of support, making a move, we're getting dumped into. You see these three different levels of pullbacks here, and at the same time, we've been forming a. I'll go ahead and delete this here. At the same time, we've been forming. I hate when I jump over charts like that. We've been forming an equilibrium pattern, and that's what we're seeing right here, essentially being tested right here over the past few days. This is what everyone's watching, and this will really help demonstrate what's more bullish right now out of all the top cryptocurrencies right now. So what's the most bullish chart wise? So regarding the equilibrium pattern, this is what we're looking at. Okay, we're seeing lower highs and seeing higher lows here, and we're testing this upper area. We did break through this upper trend line earlier today, but we got shoved right back down. Why did we get shoved right down? Because everyone who bought in at the 7,500 is finally back to break even. The people who got faked out on these dumps, right? These pullbacks, the people who got faked out here and got dumped on finally got to broke even. They sold out. This is the kind of price action we're looking at because we have all those bag longs ahead. So it's going to be a rough upside in order for us to get back up there. So be patient, and that's why I'm being patient with my entries and only buying the very, very overextended down moves right now, just to kind of conserve capital and to wait for easier trades. So we have this equilibrium pattern setting up here on Bitcoin. We should see this play out here within the next, I anticipate, 1 to 4 hours. We either get a break upwards or another retest here at the bottom side. And just be patient with your entries there and just keep that in mind. So equilibrium here on Bitcoin. If we go to Ethereum, it's going to be a little bit different. What we're seeing on Ethereum is more like the ascending wedge, right? Because if we draw the 605 right here, and then we draw the horizontal support down here, right? What we're essentially looking at is, and sorry for the different colors there, essentially what we're looking at here is more of an ascending wedge pattern, right? Where we're forming higher lows upwards with the resistance essentially saying the same. We're not seeing lower highs. Whereas on Bitcoin, we're seeing lower highs and higher lows. So this is equilibrium pattern. Ethereum is more of an ascending wedge, if that makes sense. we're seeing higher lows in the same horizontal resistance. So Ethereum in this case is looking more bullish than Bitcoin. And it has been doing that for the past couple of weeks. If you jump over to Litecoin, Litecoin looks just like Bitcoin, right? Exactly like Bitcoin. We're seeing the lower highs and also the higher lows, okay? Just like Bitcoin. If you jump over to Bitcoin Cash, same thing as Bitcoin and Litecoin, right? You're seeing the lower highs and you're also seeing the higher lows. So what I take from this is essentially, wow, it's really ugly. What I take from this is essentially Ethereum is looking the most bullish out of all the different coins. Okay, between Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash, I would prefer to trade Ethereum because it has the most bullish strength behind it, as we're seeing a different formation and pattern here. That's how I would compare the three. What I would do is, and what I'm doing is when I'm talking about in my newsletters, is trading Ethereum. So I'll look at the Bitcoin chart and I'll look at the different horizontal price levels here in formation on Bitcoin, and I'll place my entries on Ethereum at levels where I would find the Ethereum price to correlate with the Bitcoin price, right? Because Ethereum's been having the most bullish recoveries here as far as momentum, and also it's essentially been acting as a leveraged ETF. Because, you know, Bitcoin's up 1% on the day, or Bitcoin's up 1% on the day, Ethereum's up 3% on the day, Litecoin's up 1.8%, and Bitcoin Cash is up 2.1%. So what we're seeing is Ethereum's also leveraged, whereas Bitcoin moves 1%, Ethereum moves 3%. And it's also to the bullish side, which is great. So that's what I'm looking at on Ethereum. That's why I'm looking to enter on Ethereum. So I talked a little bit about the big picture on Bitcoin and what I'm looking for right now. In summary, we have a lot of bag longs. Okay, we have a lot of bag longs right now. We need to see a curl and higher lows put in over a steady amount of time in order for strong support and momentum to be built for a retest of 10K. If we don't see that, and instead we see a bear break of this equilibrium pattern, we're getting closer and closer to the 6,500 area, which if we break that, things will not be looking pretty. We're getting closer every single day essentially to breaking that level. So be careful and keep that in mind if you're trading the large term, right? Because what we're seeing here overall on the daily chart is we're seeing this bouncing action, right? Of lower highs being put in on this level, and we're hammering on that 6,500 level. So you need to keep that in mind if you're trading this. And wow, we're already at 12 minutes. So I'll make this a little bit longer here, guys, so I can fit in some of the things I want to talk about. So keep in mind the big picture if you're trading the short term. Short term, keep in mind the bag longs above you. So take your profits, you know, conservatively. Make sure you're putting you're not looking for a huge move. Now you're not calling the bottom, right? Because who knows if this 7,500 would actually be the bottom, the higher low we're looking for to see a continuation back up towards 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 area. You never know. Take your profits, protect your capital, right? Okay. That's what I want to talk about here regarding these three coins. And I'll be giving more consistent analysis back here soon. Like, again, I've been really focused off the screens on my other businesses, and so I haven't been uploading videos as consistently right now. Been really focused on the chat room. We've been having a lot of fun in there, just getting to know some of you guys, and also those in the mentorship program. That's been going really great. And also I'm going to include in the description, actually, one of the people in my mentorship program, he actually went ahead and uploaded a review of the program. So if you can, didn't ask him to do that. He just took that upon his own time. I really appreciate him doing that. And he's going to kind of talk about what I offer and how it can help you depending on where you are in your trading journey, if you'd like to take place in that. And I do have one spot open currently for that. And so what I want to do is go ahead and jump on over to essentially a little bit of the psychology of what's going on right now and essentially why you should not be a bag long. So what I said here in this post on my Twitter is trading is about the long term. Don't let one or two bad decisions wipe you out. Take your time. Every now and then you'll hit the big one that pays for your patience. And here's what I'm talking about with that, guys. So in cryptocurrency, all right, there are people, and please don't let it be you, who are buying up here in the 9,000, right? And they're just holding through this. What they're doing is they're making a ton of money, right? They're making money up here on the upside. Yeah, man, we're making money, mad gains, Lambo. They get to the top and they just bag hold this. So essentially they're giving back all their gains. They're limiting their potential to buy back cheaper and to make profit on the way down because they're sitting here holding bags from the upside. Don't be those people. Trading is about the long game. Trading is about the long term, okay? Yes, you make money here on the upside, but then as soon as the market turns, and it doesn't fit your strategy anymore, you need to adjust and you need to change your plan in order to compensate for that for the downside. So you don't just give back all the gains you made here on the upside. You save those gains, you hone your skills here on the downside, or you lay off the gas, which is what I'm doing. You're being patient. And then when you see the upside again, you start hammering it. You bring the hammer, all right, and you start making money. That's what you need to do, because trading is about the long term. If all you can make money in is this right here, and then you just give it back right here, you're not getting anywhere, all right? You need to be able to make money in the uptrend preserve your capital and alter your strategy here in the downtrend. And then when it gets hot, hit it. All right. It's a cycle. It's a market cycle. You need to learn to trade that. What you cannot do is just make one good decision, make a ton of money, and then make a bad decision, and it just wipes you out. All those gains that you made over time. If you miss, for example, guys, if you sit here and bag hold, right? Or what's a good example? So if you sit here in this chart action here, right? We had the pullback from 7,500 down to 5,000. You took a huge loss on your account and say that was all the money you had. You're gonna miss out on this huge opportunity that we had following that up to 20,000. And same thing down here. If you let these downtrends, if you just sit here and backhold these downtrends, let these wipe out your account and take massive losses, you're not going to be able to capitalize on the upside that we'll see in the future. Because I always say trading is a marathon. Okay, it's a marathon. It's an endurance run. It's not a sprint. This is something you need to focus on the long term. Focus on honing your strategy and developing that for the long term. I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over, but it's so important, guys, because I see it here all the time. I talk to many people where they've just been sitting here holding bags. And they've just been doing nothing but losing money over time. And it's just not worth it, okay? Take your time with your trading. Learn to develop that. There's no rush. You know, one of the things I pointed out here to people in my newsletter, essentially, guys, okay, and I've said this, I know I've said this to you before, all right? So if you're sitting here trading the chop and getting beat up, you're not getting anywhere, just quit. Just be patient and wait. Even if we rip from 7,500 all the way up to, let's just say, all the way up to 8,700 today, okay, we still have 8,000 to 12,000 to 14,000 to 20,000. You're not missing out on anything, guys. What you're doing is you're taking unnecessary losses, right? Every now and then you're going to hit the big one that pays for your patience. So if you're patient and you minimize your losses and you focus on your edge during these downtrends, every once in a while you're going to hit one of these big trades that's going to make up for that time. You know, you might be able to capture this spike that I caught, you know, way back months ago, right? You might hit that. And you might be able to capture, you know, the move we had up to 20,000 back over here, right? You might be able to capture that. The only way you're going to be able to capture those moves is if you stay in the game, you respect your strategy, you focus on developing your bot mentality, guys. You focus on trading without emotion and learning how to trade like a machine. So that's all I got, guys. 17-minute long video. This is the longest video I ever made, I'm pretty sure. But I really wanted to come back in here and bring some strength to you guys and bring some value as far as what to look for in the technical side and how to develop your psychology. So if you guys have any questions or anything, leave a comment in the description down below. Hit me up with a tweet, shoot me an email. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Check out that review of my mentorship program in the description. I will leave below for you guys. And again, this is Bot Mentality. You guys focus on trading like a machine. You have a great rest of your day. I'm getting out of here, and I'll be back with another video tomorrow. Deuces.